Today we'll start with next multiplexing technique called TDM. TDM stands for time division multiplexing. First let us define what you mean by time division multiplexing. Time division multiplexing technique is used to multiplex a digital signals where it combines several low rate channels into one higher rate channel. Now just see this diagram. Already we studied other two techniques of multiplexing, that is frequency division multiplexing and wavelength division multiplexing. In frequency division multiplexing, what we did is single link was divided into n number of channels, where for each channel the frequency has been assigned and the combined frequency of all the channels was equal to the frequency of the link. In the same manner, in the wavelength division multiplexing, the channel was divided according to the wavelength, and WDM works similar to that of FDM, but when WDM is compared to FDM, it has higher frequency and higher speed than the FDM. And in FDM, it is responsible for transmitting of electrical signals, whereas WDM is responsible for transmitting optical signals. Hence, to transmit the optical signals, there we were going to use a transmission medium called fiber optical channel, and the prism was responsible for combining and expanding of the signals. And prism, it bends the light source based on the angle of incident and frequency. That was the concept of FDM and WDM. Now we'll see about the TDM. You can just see this diagram. There are 4 devices, device 1, 2, 3 and 4. All the 4 devices want to transfer a data over the transmission medium. Now when they input their data to multiplexer, in TDM technique what happens, the single channel has been divided into various time slots. In that particular time slots, the particular device has a capacity to use the full bandwidth of the channel. In FDM, how the technique was? In FDM, at one time, all several channels were allowed to use the bandwidth of the link. But in TDM, at one time, only one channel is used to allow the whole bandwidth of the link. That is the difference. And in FDM, to separate the channels from one another, that is to avoid the overlapping of the channels, unused bandwidth called guard band was used. But in TDM technique, there is no usage of guard band, hence there is no wastage of the bandwidth. This is the advantage of TDM over the FDM. Now you can just see the diagram. In the diagram we have the 3 cycles, where in each cycle we have 4 time slots. So in first cycle, when you consider the first cycle, the first time slot is allocated for the first device. Second time slot is allocated for the second device. Third time slot is allocated for the third device. Similarly, fourth time slot is allocated for the fourth device. The meaning here itself is entire data is not transmitted at one time. So the whole data is again divided into unit of data, and for each unit, each time slot being allocated in each of the cycle. Once the one cycle completes, then it begins with the next cycle, and that is again the data transferred through the link is made input to the demultiplexer, and it is responsibility of the demultiplexer to reassemble the data at the receiver end. This is one drawback of TDM. In TDM, demultiplexer is responsible to reassemble the data received and send it over the receiver. Now, in TDM, mainly we have the 2 types. Here you can see the synchronous TDM and statistical TDM. Statistical TDM, we can call this also as asynchronous. So there are 2 types, synchronous TDM and asynchronous TDM. Another name for asynchronous TDM is nothing but the statistical TDM. Now we'll see about the synchronous TDM. Just you can go through this diagram. the first diagram, that is diagram of 6.13. See, in synchronous TDM what happens is each time slot is pre-assigned to the fixed user. So before the actual transmission of data, each time slot is pre-assigned to the fixed users. Then the time slots are transmitted irrespective of whether the user have any data to send or not. You can just take this point. The first point is each time slot is pre-assigned to the fixed user. Then the time slots are transmitted irrespective of whether the user have any data to send or not. Hence, capacity of the channel is wasted. This is about the synchronous time division multiplexing. You can just look at the diagram. Before multiplexing, we have the data as A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, C1, C2 and C3. The meaning of this is totally you have 3 channels. For 3 channels, you have the 3 devices. Let us assume the devices as device A, device B and device C. Device A want to transfer the data. So instead of sending the whole data at one time, it will divide the data into various units. So device A will divide the data into A1 unit, A2 unit and A3 unit. Device B will divide the data into B1 unit, B2 unit and B3 unit. Device C will divide the data into unit C1, unit C2 and unit C3. When these streams of data is input to the multiplexer, then output of the multiplexer is formation of the frame. Just you can see here, frame 1. In frame 1 you have 3 time slots. In frame 2 you have 3 time slots. In frame 3 you have 3 time slots. So the frame is nothing but it is the combination of time slots of one cycle. See, A1, B1, C1 are transferred in one cycle. A2, B2, C2 are transferred in second cycle. A3, B3, C3 are transferred in third cycle. So A1, B1, C1 will form one frame. A2, B2, C2 will form another frame. A3, B3, C3 will form frame 3. This diagram is similar to your above diagram. It is just like in this diagram we have 4 channels. So in one cycle we have 4 time slots. But here we have 3 devices. Hence we have 3 time slots and 3 time slots within one cycle. So that entire cycle is known as one frame. Now the number of time slots within a frame is equal to number of connections. Number of connections is nothing but the number of devices. And just you can see here, before multiplexing, A1, B1, C1 are allocated a time slot of time t. A2, B2, C2 are again allocated the next time slot of t. A3, B3, C3 are again allocated the next time slot called t. But when the frames are formed, that data unit A1, B1, C1 together will have the time period of t. But the single data unit A1 will have the time slot of t divided by n, where n is nothing but the number of connections. Here the number of connections or number of devices are 3. Hence, the time duration of A1 is t by 3. This is nothing but the output time duration. See, input time duration of data units is t seconds, whereas output time duration of A1 is t by 3 seconds. B1 is again t by 3 seconds. C1 is t by 3 seconds. So always the input duration time is t, then output duration time will be t by n seconds, where n is nothing but the number of connections. Now again in the synchronous TDM there is another concept called interleaving. Now we'll see what you mean by interleaving. To study the concept of interleaving, you can just consider this diagram. and the circle one or the round, they are nothing but the rotating switch. Now you can just see the diagram. Again you have the three connections A, B and C. The data of those connections or the devices are divided as data units called A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3 and so on. Now since you have the three connections or three devices, over the switch you have three openings. We have two switch, one switch at the sender side, another switch at the receiver side. Both the switch are connected through the link. Now we'll just see. Before multiplexing, we are just inputting the data streams and the switch will rotate and it will open at particular device at fixed or constant rate and in the fixed order. So interleaving is nothing but the rotating switch will rotate at each and every connection or each and every device at a constant rate in a fixed order. This is known as interleaving. You can just write the definition. Rotating switch rotates towards each connection at a constant rate in fixed order. So when the switch rotates and opens at the device 1, it will collect the data of device 1. When it rotates and opens at device B, it will collect the data of B. When it rotates and opens at device C, it will collect the data of C. All together it will form a frame and then those frames are sent over the link. And at demultiplexer side we have the demultiplexer switch. This switch is responsible for reassembling of the data received into a proper order. So we can call the switch of the sender as cumulator, switch of the receiver as decumulator. This is the concept of interleaving. This is all about synchronous time division. Now we'll see about the next one, statistical TDM. You can just observe the diagram of synchronous and statistical TDM. Just see the diagram of synchronous TDM. See, we have the device A, device B and device C, and for the device A the data is divided into three units, A1, A2 and A3. Device B has divided its data only into two units, B1 and B2, and C is divided its data again only into two units, C1 and C2. So when frame is formed, the number of slots within the frame is equal to number of connections. Since highest number of data unit is 3, the meaning is 3 frames should be formed. So number of frames again depends on highest number of data units. Here the highest number of data unit is A1, A2, A3, so 3 units. So 3 frames are formed. Within each frame we will have the time slots. Number of time slots is equal to number of connection. So frame 1 have a 3 time slots, frame 2 has a 3 time slots, frame 3 has a 3 time slots. But frame 1 will consist the unit of first cycle. In first cycle we have unit A1, B1, there is no C1, so A1, B1. Second cycle has the unit A2, C1. Third one has A3, B2, C2. You can just observe here. Time slots within the frame are empty. This leads to wastage of bandwidth. So while studying synchronous TDM, I told you people, time slots are pre-assigned to the fixed user before the actual process of the technique. This is the drawback of synchronous TDM. So what it will do, before the process of TDM itself, it will allocate the time slots within the frame. But since there is no data at that time slot, bandwidth at particular time slot is wasted. To overcome this disadvantage, we have the statistical TDM. Now let us see what you mean by statistical TDM. You can just observe the diagram. To overcome the drawback of synchronous TDM, that is, many of the time slots in the frames are waste. If a particular user has a efficient alternative synchronous TDM, it is nothing but the statistical TDM. So the alternative to overcome the disadvantage of synchronous TDM is nothing but the statistical TDM or asynchronous TDM. Just see the diagram how the time slots are allocated. It allocates the time slots on demand. So here pre-assignment of time slot does not take place. So allocation of the time slot is on demand. You can just see the diagram. So in the first cycle you have the data A1, then you have B1, then you have C1. Again you have D1. But see how the frames are formed. A1 1, B1 2, C1 3. So these 1, 2, 3 are nothing but the addresses of the data unit. A1, B1, C1 are the data unit. The meaning is A1 belongs to first device, B1 belongs to second device, C1 belongs to third device. D1 data belongs to fourth device, A2 data belongs to first device, C2 data belongs to third device. Here number of input devices are 4, but number of slots within the frame is 3. The meaning is time slots within the frame will be always one less than that of the number of connection. This is the difference between synchronous and statistical. In synchronous, the number of time slots within the frame was equal to number of connections or devices. But here, the number of time slots within the frame will be always less than the number of connections or number of devices. This is about the statistical TDM. You can just go through all these differences or comparison between synchronous TDM and statistical TDM. See, in the synchronous TDM, first difference we have about the working. Here whole data or whole input data is divided into unit. Each input unit has to occupy output time slot. So whatever time slot is there in the input side, the same time slot should be there at the output side. Hence we call it as synchronous. But in statistical TDM, time slots are allocated dynamically. That is, input line is given the slots in an output frame if and only if input unit has a data to send. In synchronous, it is irrespective of whether the input unit has data to send it or not. For each and every input time slot, there will be output time slot. But in the statistical, it is not compulsory that for every input time slot, there should be output time slot. It is dependent on whether the input time slot has any data to send. If the input time slot has any data to send, then only at the output side it will have a time slots. Then second difference is about the number of slots. In synchronous TDM, number of time slots within each frame will be always equal to number of connections or number of devices. But in statistical TDM, number of slots in each frames will be always less than the number of connections or devices. And the third comparison is about the buffers. In synchronous TDM, there is no buffering used, but in the statistical TDM, buffering is done. This buffering is done to provide the output time slots on demand. Then you have about the addressing. There is no addressing in the synchronous, but there is a addressing concept in the statistical to identify data belongs to which device. Then you have about the synchronization. In synchronous, the synchronization bits are required at beginning of each frame. No synchronization bits are required at the statistical. And the next is about the capacity. Synchronous TDM, bandwidth is wasted if there is no input data to send. But here no bandwidth is wasted, or less bandwidth is wasted when compared to that of synchronous TDM. And in data separation, demultiplexer is responsible to reassemble the data, and it is responsible to discard the synchronization bits and extract the data unit in synchronous TDM. In statistical TDM, receiver will decompose each frame by checking their addresses. Hence the data unit is extracted. You can just see the problems related to TDM. So before going through the problems, you can just refer to this note. The data is not sent over the transmission medium as it is. The data is divided into smaller data units. Then, if input bit duration is t second, then output bit duration will be always t by n second, where n is nothing but the number of connections or the number of input devices. Thus, input duration is given as 1 divided by input bit rate. Output duration is given as input duration divided by number of connections. Bit rate, bit durations are always inverse of each other. Then you have output bit rate will be always n times that of the input bit rate, and frame size is nothing but the number of connections into unit size. Frame rate, frame durations are again equal to input rate and input duration. You can just refer to this. Synchronous TDM with a data stream of 1 Mbps and unit of 1 bit. You need to find what they are given. They are given that input data rate as 1 megabit per second, and that 1 megabit per second is divided into data unit of the size 1 bit. So this is just a diagram, and don't worry about these values, binary values 1100 these are just an assumption. You can consider any of your values. So to solve the problem, first you need to draw the diagram and write what are the given things. Then see what they asked. They asked you to calculate input bit duration. Again I told you, bit duration and bit rate are always inversely proportional to each other. Bit date and data rate both are same. So 1 Mbps, it is nothing but the input data rate or input bit rate. They asked about bit duration. So bit duration is always the reciprocal of bit rate. Hence input bit duration is 1 divided by input bit rate. 1 divided by 1 megabit per second will get the result as 1 microsecond. Then the second thing they asked about output bit duration. Output bit duration, there are two formulas. One formula is input bit duration divided by number of connections, or else always the output bit rate will be 4 times the input bit rate. By considering that output bit rate, you can calculate this. See, if we apply this formula, you will get it as 1 by 4 microsecond. If you apply another formula, first calculate the output bit rate. Output bit rate, here you have calculated it as 4 Mbps. So 1 by 4, both are same. Then you have output bit rate. Again it is reciprocal of the output bit duration, or you have the another formula. Then third concept, they asked you to calculate about last one, frame rate. Frame rate is again equal to input rate, that is 1 Mbps. In the same manner, we have another problem. Here they are given the input data rate or bit rate as 1 kbps and the unit size as 1 bit. You need to calculate duration of input slot, duration of output slot, and duration of each frame. See again, the duration of input slot is nothing but reciprocal of the input unit 1 by 1 kbps, which is again equivalent to 1 millisecond. Duration of output will be again input duration divided by number of connection. Input duration is 1 millisecond divided by number of connection is 3, 1 by 3. Then you have the duration of each frame. Each frame has a 3 inputs or 3 time slots. So duration of each frame is 3 into output duration, that is 1 by 3. So it is again 1 millisecond, and always the frame duration will be equal to input duration. Both are same. With this I completed the different techniques of multiplexing. See what we studied from the module 3. In the module 3 we started with the bandwidth utilization. To make the best utilization of the bandwidth, we had two techniques, multiplexing and spread spectrum. Multiplexing is used whenever bandwidth of the link is greater than bandwidth need of the sender and receiver device. Spread spectrum is used when you want to increase the bandwidth of the link. Again, multiplexing, what it does, it will combine multiple signals and transmit it over the single link at one time. That is nothing but the concept of multiplexing. And again, in the multiplexing technique, there are mainly three types: frequency division multiplexing, time division multiplexing, and wavelength division multiplexing. In frequency division multiplexing, single link was divided into n channels. Meaning of link was actual physical path. Meaning of channel was the portion of link that carries the data. And for each of the channel, the frequency was assigned. Combined frequency of all the channel was equal to the frequency of entire or the bandwidth of entire link. And wavelength division multiplexing works in the similar manner of FDM, where in FDM, to separate one channel overlapping on the another channel, they are separated by unused bandwidth called guard bands. But in WDM, frequency is much higher than that of the FDM, high speed than the FDM, because FDM uses a simple transmission medium, whereas WDM uses a fiber optical transmission medium. And WDM is responsible for the transmission of optical signals. FDM is responsible for transmitting of electrical signals. And third concept is TDM. Here, instead of dividing a link into channels, what they made, single channel was divided according to different time slots. Again, two types, synchronous and asynchronous. Asynchronous was also known as statistical. Then in the synchronous, free assignment of time slots for the fixed users was done, but in asynchronous, time slots were allocated on demand. And there is an interleaving concept in the synchronous TDM. The meaning of interleaving was there are a rotating switch at the sender side and the receiver side. So this rotating switch will rotate at a constant rate in a fixed order at each and every device. This is nothing but the interleaving concept. In next, we'll see about the spread spectrum.